bro. Like this is getting a little out of hand, bro. There's everything. There's a word for everything, bro. I don't like that. I don't like that chair over there. I'm chairophobic. Like this is out of control, bro. This is out of control, fam.
All right,
Is
so
everything a phobia now? Like everything needs a label. Like I can't have
no.
an honest conversation about okay, this dude dropped a piece of art. People are talking about it, but now because I don't agree with what he's doing, I'm a homo. Nah, that can't be the way, bro.
We live?
We live.
We live. Welcome back to the Opinion Factory podcast, the podcast for free thinkers and challenge seekers.
Is there?
I'm Khelil.
I'm Alex, and recently, I don't know if you heard this whole thing with Lil Nas X going on.
Yeah.
His invasion, the Satan shoes, and all this type of stuff. And we'll get into that in a little bit, right? But you know my problem, and we kind of talked about this on cancel culture recently. But you know my problem is with any conversation that involves somebody of a minority community, I'll say, is any criticism towards that person, not even the community itself, towards that person, you get labeled as a bigot. Any conversation, fam. Any conversation, bro.
What do you mean? What happened?
So, he got some, we'll say, like, anti-Christian values going on in this video.
Satanic values.
Yes, where he's like twerking on Satan. It's supposed to be a metaphor and symbolism of people that say he was gonna go to hell that were Christian. Yeah. Understand that, right? But now if I'm a Christian person myself and I'm criticizing him doing that, now I'm homophobic. How does that work? Like, how does that work? I don't understand this.
It doesn't, but you have to admit there is a small basis as to why people in the LGBTQ community will call any Christian saying anything bad about a gay person homophobic.
If you're telling me going to hell, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Exactly. No, you're right.
Of course.
It's the same basis for Lil Nas X's video. Christians and these very religious people have been telling me all my life that I'm going to go to hell. And so now when I do go to hell and there's a Christian saying, oh, you this and you that, it's probably the same Christian I was going to go there anyways. The same homophobic Christian maybe. And
yeah,
so
but not a small basis. But now if I'm somebody who's not even Christian, bro, I'm like, yo, you kind of forcing it. Like, what is this? I'm labeled homophobic, bro. That's what I'm talking about. Like, there's a problem. It's the same thing we talked about with the trans thing. We talked about trans in sports a few weeks ago, and we were called transphobic, like just for having a discussion, bro. No one's saying you can't do this. Like I just said, it's a little tongue in cheek by Lil Nas X. You're allowed. Like, I understand the metaphor. I completely understand the metaphor, right? But if I disagree with him doing that, how does that make me homophobic? This is my problem. What's going on inside? Like everything gets labeled, bro.
Because if you're with us, you're against us.
Fam,
and by saying he went too far, you're definitely not with us. So you must be with the homophobes.
We have fatphobic now, fam. We have fatphobic now, bro. Like this is getting a little out of hand, bro. There's everything. There's a word for everything, bro. I don't like that. I don't like that chair over there. I'm chairophobic. Like this is out of control, bro. This is out of control, fam. Is everything a phobia now? Like everything needs a label. Like I can't have an honest conversation about okay, this dude dropped a piece of art. People are talking about it, but now because I don't agree with what he's doing, I'm a homo. Nah, that can't be the way, bro. It's just I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that.
It's not, and I don't want to start talking about these things as if like saying someone is xenophobic is somehow, a bad thing, because that does exist, right? And I don't want to, because all these new phobias popping up, it shouldn't, and I feel like it shouldn't detract from the actual problems that people have, like bigotry and xenophobia and all that stuff, where you hate people from foreign countries and all that stuff. But when you start labeling everything, nothing has power no more.
Yes.
So now when you call me homophobic and now when you call me transphobic, I'm like, you're just one of those phobic people who think everything is phobic. And even if I am, I'm not getting your message.
It's facts.
Because not everything is a phobia.
It's facts. It's facts. It's the same thing like the racist thing, right? Like if I call everything racist, no one's gonna believe me anymore. And that's the problem we're going down. We're just labeling everything where someone doesn't agree with you. Now there's no room for nuance.
Who decided that we need all these labels?
I don't know. I don't know. I'd say the woke people, but
I would feel like it's the minority groups that came up with all of this. Most of the phobics that have come up has come defensively. You know what I mean? Like whenever people would bash on fat people for a long time, eventually the term fatphobic came about.
I don't think that's how it happens.
In my experience, that's what I've noticed, bro. Because if nobody was bashing on fat people, there would never be any fat phobia discussions. If everybody was nice to gay people, there would never be no homophobic discussions. All these terms came up as like a defensive reflex for like systematic, discrimination, right? And that's the systemic discrimination is valid. That's valid. Calling everything phobic because people are talking about the systemic discrimination or the people that are the targets of systemic discrimination without like singing their praises, that's where we go too far. That's why I want to draw the line.
Yeah, I can see that working, but I feel like, you're talking about how it's come defensively. I feel like it's come up like not necessarily from the community itself, but like from people that want to defend that community.
Do you think
right?
So?
Yeah, I feel like that's how it happens a lot. Where it's like, someone like if I say something is racist, whatever, but then it's like the other person that comes in that the white, like say a white person comes in, this is racist, and then like they'll have more credibility to listen to that white person instead of like so that's why I'm saying I don't know if it comes from the minority community, and it takes me back to this commercial. I remember it was a popular Super Bowl commercial, or not, it was gonna drop in the Super Bowl, but it was like a Volkswagen commercial, or I want to say Volkswagen. It was a car commercial. I'll try to find it and drop it in here if I can.
I hate Mondays.
Yeah, they're the worst.
No worries, man. Everything will be all right.
Yeah, man.
Come on. Don't fret me, brother. Sticky bun comes soon. Yeah. Wicked coffee, Mr. Jim. Julia, turn the frown the other way around.
Hey, Dave, you're from Minnesota, right?
Yes, the land of 10,000 lakes. The Gopher State.
So in conclusion, things are pretty dismal.
You know what this room needs? A smile. Who wanna come with I?
Traveling along, there's a song that we're singing. Come on, get happy.
You guys are 3 minutes late.
Don't be no cloud on a sunny day.
Yeah, chill, Winston.
Sir?
Respect, boss man.
We'll make you happy.
That's the power of German engineering.
Jamaicans in the car, happy, like singing and dancing, like vibing with Rastafarian music, right?
Right.
And then some white person from New York is like, "This is racist. This is stereotype." And then meanwhile, you got people in Jamaica be like, "Hey, we love this commercial. It shows us in a positive light." Like this is why I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like that's what's happening with all these labels. It's like so many times it's not even from the group itself. But it's from like other people
trying to be politically correct.
It's from like white knights, man. That's what's going on. It's just like white knights with the homophobic and transphobic type discussions. I feel like that is still coming from, that community. But like for a lot of the other stuff, I feel like it's just not happening. I feel like when I hear the term fatphobic, it's not even if heavier people feel like they've been targeted and like bullied and stuff. I'm not hearing that from them. I'm hearing that from other people that are like, you gotta stop being mean to these type of people.
That's actually a good point. Back when we did the trans episode, most of the discussions that we had were with non-trans people. Most of the people calling us transphobic and this and that were non-trans people.
Yeah, and which to a degree, I understand is bound to happen because it's a minority community, so they're not, the most populous in the communities that we'll interact with on a regular basis. But it's still like, like most of the people that we're having this conversation with aren't even from that community.
So these terms came about as a vehicle for people who are not part of that community to support that community, right? If you're able to tell someone that, hey, you're transphobic, that's your way of standing up for the trans community, even though, like, an easy way to stand up for the trans community, even though you're not trans.
Yeah, and
right? Then when did that turn into being outraged for them? If it's just a vehicle to support them, why are you now taking it to the point where now you don't want to just go where they go, but you now want to lead them to their own outrage when they're not even there yet?
I don't know. I just feel like it's been weaponized. I feel like there's so many like there's like these culture wars going on in the country, in the West and United States, whatever. It's just everything is weaponized now, right? It's like you was just saying, you're either with us or against us,
right?
And it just becomes exhausting, fam. It becomes exhausting. Like dudes can't have real conversations. Like, you know, we can't have real conversations and we can't offend some people. That does happen. That's why like, a real conversation happens sometimes. And you're well within your right to call me out if I offended you. And like, okay, this is wrong because of this, this, and this. Right? That's completely valid.
That with facts.
But that's not what's happening, fam. It's just like, oh, something's happening racist. Something's happening transphobic. Something's happening homophobic. And that's like, it doesn't lead to anything productive, fam.
No.
You know, if someone's being racist and you're like, yo, you're racist. Like, is that gonna do anything for them? It's like even if they were being ignorant at that moment, is that really gonna do anything for them? You know, I'm not saying it's not bad to call out racist. You know, you can still call out racist, but like you're having an interaction or you're having an argument, whatever, and like, yo, you're racist, and then it just becomes like it doesn't even become about what you're arguing about anymore. Right. It then becomes about now I'm defending my character because this person called me this.
Right, bro. That's fine.
Yeah, so it's just exhausting. It doesn't do anything productive for anybody. That's like, okay, let's say like if, for example, right, we did a trans episode, right? We were talking about sports. Maybe people were misinformed because they didn't watch the podcast, or maybe people were misinformed because they didn't listen to the episode. Okay, and they just saw the headline on social media, right? They don't have the information going in that we already said going in, right? Talked about we don't want to discriminate, whatever. We're just talking about the fairness of sports, and then hey, transphobic, and it was just because of what? Like what is the argument to base that off of? Because you're saying we can't allow these persons, and it's just like, you know, and maybe they can educate us, but the way they were doing it wasn't the right way. And it's not just about us; it's just like in general, so many of these conversations, just like what's going on right now with Lil Nas X. People don't like art. That happens all the time, fam. He dropped a music video. Music video is art. People don't like
art.
They don't like the symbolism that he's trying to get off on. Perfectly fine, fam. You're allowed to have that criticism, bro. If you don't like, you don't like a lot of new rap, right? You don't like a lot of new rap. So if I'm like bumping Young Thug, and you're like, yo, this is trash, I'm like, yo, you're racist, Khelil.
Because he's black.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying, bro? Like it just doesn't work that way, fam. It doesn't work. And even if there was like some racial prejudice in there, me telling you that is not gonna do nothing for you, because all you thought you had was just an opinion that was like, oh, this, I heard this is how I feel. Not flying.
Right.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
Now when that happens, I might like Young Thug even less now because of what you just did.
Facts. And I think that's something that people don't realize. And whether that's fair or not to not like him less, it's just a natural human reaction.
Right.
Right. So now I don't like this person. It's not even because of what this Young Thug has did, but it's because of his fans or because of the people. A lot of people are like this with celebrities and other movements, you know, like Beyonce, Beehive.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of people don't like that because of not even what the artists themselves did, but because of their fans. And it's the same thing about specific communities. You know, a lot of people don't like whatever community because they just feel like no matter what you say, it's just constant attack. Like you can't do anything wrong. A lot of people feel that.
You just have all these negative feelings associated with that community. Like if I don't like something like Young Thug, right, and I'm able to sit with you, talk to you about why I don't like it, you tell me why I'm possibly mistaken about these things, I'm more likely to like maybe still dislike him, but appreciate what he did a little more. It's kind of like appreciating a bad movie. When you see the behind the scenes and you see how hard they worked on it, like this movie was trash, but I kind of appreciate what they did. You know what I mean? But if it's like,
I hear what you're saying, but bad
there's a bad movie,
movies.
but if you say it's a bad movie and I don't have none of the nuances behind it, I can't see the effort that they put in. I can't see the things that they consider that they didn't consider, like all the things that they tried. There's no discussions at all around it. All I'm left with is this bad movie and a bunch of people tell me why I'm trash for thinking that this is a bad movie. So now there's no chance I'm gonna come around to ever appreciating this more than I already do.
All right, fair example, but I'm just gonna shut this down real quick. So, how you feel about Avatar, the movie? What if I broke to you the behind the scenes about how we use all these special effects, etc. You know, the landscapes, the photography, the videography that went in there, all the countless hours of hard work.
I would appreciate it a little bit more. I can't front. And if for some reason it came about that instead of Sokka they said Soka because there was like this speech impediment for this actress, like, you know what? I can get behind that. I can forgive that. Maybe the movie isn't as bad. They tried their best. I can do that. I'm being honest with you.
So full of shit, bro. It's crazy.
I'm being serious.
It's crazy, bro.
I'm being serious.
This man full of it, bro. I'm not hearing it.
If I saw M. Night Shyamalan like pulling all-nighters to like get the earth-bending choreography down, or like searching high and low for like a kid that would best look like Ong, my bad. That would best look like Ong, I'll be like, it's not a complete travesty. Like, I don't like it, but at least I can appreciate some of the things about it. And it's still a different position that I initially had. But I'll never get there if all I get is, you don't like Avatar? Fucking, you xenophobic, racist, Asian hating, culture vulture, all that, I'm like, all right, if I'm all that, because I hate this movie, and I probably hate you too.
It's just like, I don't want to harp on these people too much because I understand the intention behind it. You know, like I feel like it's coming from a good spot where it's like, you know, you're trying to call someone out for something you perceive as discriminatory, right? Right? Like if you're calling someone out for being transphobic or homophobic or xenophobic, you know, you're doing what you believe is right and you're trying to call them out on it.
Begrudgingly, I agree with you.
Yeah, like I feel like the intention is there, even if the case shows they're not xenophobic, or like, you know, like even if it shows, hey, that wasn't racist, but I thought it was racist. Like I could understand the logic behind it, but the execution and delivery is just so poor that it will never change any minds.
Here's why I say I want that to be the case, but I don't think that it is. I feel like a lot of those terms come about not only, like I said before, as like a vehicle to support the movement, even though you're not part of that community, but it's also like a quick way to shame someone that you don't like or someone that you think that you don't like. And I feel like that's the priority for a lot of people who throw these terms around. It's just to shame you. You made me feel bad, so now I want to make you feel just as bad as I feel. I'm not trying to change your mind. I just want you to feel shitty too, because I've been feeling shitty about this for a long time. One of the comments that we got in the transphobic episodes was by an actual member of the trans community. We did not know this. The comment said, you guys didn't consider this, you guys didn't consider that, you know, this happened. And I'm reading like, you know what, I can counter these, I can talk about this. And at the bottom of it, the comment ended with, you guys fucking suck. And at that point, I was like, you know what? All the good intention that I think that you had, all the things that I thought that you were trying to teach me and the things that we could converse about and come to an agreement about, that just went out the window. Because now it's like, you guys fucking like, not only did you misunderstand my points and you arguing against things that I didn't make, you're not coming at my character, you're coming at my friend, like all that.
True. But that's a specific case, fam.
It happens a lot. That was an example.
That's a specific case. Like, you know, regardless of what community you are, you can still be an asshole. You know, no one's immune from being an asshole. You know,
That's fine.
So I feel like that's a specific.
What was the intention there, though? But you can't deny that happens all the time. Where you will say you fucking racist, and that's the end of the discussion.
It does happen.
Get out of here, you racist.
It does happen a decent amount. It does happen a decent amount. You know, like no one wants to be on the wrong side of history. You know, so if you're thinking like you're gonna be on the right side of history, like something that's like we go to like slavery or like certain wars,
civil rights, yeah,
or like even war, you know, like Vietnam War, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like you want to be on the right side of history. You want to be on the wrong side of history. And sometimes you are on the wrong side of history. It doesn't look like you want to believe you're gonna be on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I can understand like not making an enemy out the person, but like, hey, this is why I did. I feel like in that particular case, it's a specific issue, just a specific person, fam. You know, I'm not gonna call
an example, but
I know
your words on which side of history are you on, and which side are you on? It's about sides. Like nobody's trying to like have a general understanding like we are. Like we're trying to discuss all these things. Like we don't say forget all these people who throw around these phobic words. We're not saying like disregard them. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just trying to shame you. I'm not saying that, right? I'm not trying to like cancel those people. I'm trying to discuss this matter with them. You know what I mean? That's not what a lot of people try to do.
We're not canceling nobody out here, all right? We're not Opinion Factory Podcast. We don't do that out here, right? We're not right. Canceling nobody. We just haven't
discussed these things, but not a lot of people try to do that. They think that once I say that you're a racist, and like my words hit you in the chest, like you're gonna just collapse in your racism and disappear forever. Like I don't think that's what their ideal outcome is to a lot of these interactions. Is if I call you racist and stupid enough, you're eventually gonna collapse in your own shame and disappear forever, and you're not even going to be like on my side, quote unquote. Like,
you might. Okay, so maybe there's scenarios where you just want like call a person an asshole. You know, he's not gonna be like I'm an asshole, but it's gonna be like other people realize they're an asshole now. Maybe that's the intention that we're not seeing behind it. Like you know, like when you know how many times like they outed racists from their jobs, like oh this person works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the intention behind it. Then like. Getting other people to realize that this person has these biases or prejudices. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Like everyone has biases, fam, and prejudices. Everyone has them. Like no matter who you are. It's like how you act upon those things and how you interact with people from wherever your bias may be, like is what's really important, I feel.
Yeah, like that's saying that every white person is racist.
Yeah, and like educating
yourself. I feel like every person is racist.
Yeah, and educating yourself on and that's a valid argument. And then educating yourself on that behavior and making sure, okay, now I can see like the error of these preconceived, you know, like stereotypes or whatever.
Right. So like if you grew up and you know, whenever you saw a black person, like, oh, you know, he's probably a gangbanger, unemployed, you know, good, whatever. But then as you get older and you learn more about these things, maybe that's still your first thought, but now you know to combat that thought. You know what I mean? That's what's important.
Exactly. And I feel like right now we're not having that really. Like we're not having the room for people to grow, but we're also not having the room for like just conversations about anything.
Exactly.
Like we're talking about sensitive topics and people will get offended. It's a sensitive topic, fam. You know, so like you try to navigate it in a way that's constructive and still I don't know, I'm missing the word here, but still like wary of other people's feelings, you know, still concerned about how your words might impact the other person.
But because it's a sensitive topic, you probably get so emotional. Is that what it is? Just that I'm offended, I'm not thinking straight, I get emotional, I'm just going to
there's a lot of like think about like any hot topic, right? Like talk about like abortion or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. People get so offended, like how can you kill babies? They like call you baby killer, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side, it's like how could you force someone to have a kid that doesn't want a kid? Like you're evil, whatever, all type of stuff. And there's like no room for that conversation to be had where it's like, I understand why you feel this way. I understand why you feel that way. Maybe we might not come to a middle ground, but we'll be able to understand the other person's side of view without thinking they're a terrible person.
And when has calling someone a racist or transphobic ever worked to actually solve or eliminate that pocket of racism in the world? When has that ever worked? I don't think it ever has. Because honestly, obviously, the only thing that person's going to do is defend themselves.
Yeah, I think it's
They
kind
know that they're racist.
I think it's kind of like a public shaming thing. Like I said, just try to get these people fired from their jobs or like lose their friend
So
circles.
it's not about rehabilitation, quote unquote. So it's not about self-improvement or growth.
Oh no.
It's just about remove this cancer of society forever. And it's very easy to be a cancer of society.
So
keep up to date. Like, what if? Bro, that's the thing. If you want to remove people, shouldn't there be like some kind of like strict criteria before you get to call them transphobic or homophobic or racist? Like, some of it is valid. Like, I agree 100%. A lot of it is valid, but when you're that quick to drop the term and you want to remove them from society, like on a dime, that's crazy.
Even if you're successful in removing these people, like what's the next step for them though? Are they just gone? Are they just gone forever? Are they like resigned to work at the lowest paying job and so they can't have an impact on other people? Like, what's the next step for these people?
Unemployment, depression, death, even.
Remember
that porn star? Remember that porn star?
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
And then she committed suicide because the gay community bullied her. And then we saw, it was one tweet, but this gay guy was like, "I'm glad she fucking died. She was homophobic."
I don't feel like that's representative of the whole community.
It's not, but I'm not going to say he's the only one thinking that. I'm not saying gay people think this, but I'm saying some people want them to be depressed. Some people want them to die. Some people want them to be relegated to the bottom of the socioeconomic ladder. None of it is calling for, I want this person to come out better.
No. That part is true, but I also feel like that's a small minority of that community that wants that though. Like I said, there's gonna be assholes in every single community, no matter where you go across.
No, I believe you. I'm not saying he's representative of the entire gay
community. Yeah, of course.
I know he's not.
My thing is, and taking it back to Lil Nas X things, like, are these like, do you just want to have people that are immune from criticisms and jokes, or like just discussions? I mean, like you know what I'm saying? Like, we already had so it's like, so that then it becomes to a point where it's like, is that not special treatment?
Special treatment can be seen as warranted if that person or that group has been mistreated for a very long time.
It can be. Yeah, no, it can be.
Treatment
it can be. It can be. It can be. Right? Very valid. Very valid. But now,
and so maybe that's what we want. Like you said, Family Guy said, we're not going to do gay jokes anymore. That's 100% special treatment. That's what they wanted, because gay people have been the butt of jokes for so long. I mean, a lot of people have, but
that's what
get special treatment.
But if you're gonna, and this is my thing, so it's what we talk about cancel culture. Like, it's the lack of consistency that also bothers me though. So now, if you're not gonna make gay jokes, you can't make women jokes anymore either, because women have been the butt of jokes for how long? Or you can't make
women aren't as important as gay people. It's gonna keep the straight fit. I swear to God, I was gonna keep a straight face.
But like, is this the logic behind it, bro?
Yeah, I mean, implicitly like, it is.
Because you can still make black jokes, because black people have been for how long? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Implicitly, it is.
It's like, I understand being sensitive, but is there a balance between sensitive and special treatment? Like, is
yes.
That,
yeah. I feel like we crossed it.
We're not in that. We're just like, yo, you can't say this.
Yeah.
Now you got this label on you. Bang, goes with you forever.
Exactly. And that same comment I was telling you from that transphobic episode that we did by the actual trans commenter.
Yeah.
We got into like I want to say a pretty good discussion. We talked about things calmly. There was no name calling. There was like a back and forth of ideas. And she recognized that I'm not against her, right? And so she's like, I'm so happy that you want to be an ally, but to talk about trans people in a negative way or in a non-positive way is just fuel for the actual like anti-trans people. And so you can't have this conversation. basically is what she was saying. I'm like, you can't control every single conversation about trans people.
You can't. And I just don't.
And there is such a thing as a neutral discussion.
Yeah,
we're not singing their praises, and we're also not shitting on them. That can happen.
I think the logic that this person's coming from, like, if you have neutral discussion about, like, there's not really neutral discussion if, like, transphobia is wrong, right? It's just like it's wrong. Like, it's like racism, right? You can't have a neutral discussion about is racism wrong, because it's just like it's kind of just objectively wrong.
No, but if we're talking about
a specific instance of racism, or if this is actual racism, or if this is like special treatment or like whatever,
right,
then that's something different.
But that's neutral.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about racism wrong. We're saying, are Black people mistreated in the medical industry? And then someone comes, you hate white people. How? How does that work? Please tell me. And that's what I'm getting here.
It is, man. Tricky times, man.
You can't control every single conversation. And just, it's like, you can use a knife to cook, to, make equipment, or to harm others. Having a knife is not inherently a bad thing. You can't call me a murderer because I have a knife and knives are used for murder. It doesn't make sense, and that's what's happening here.
True. It's just, no, that's all true, man. That's all true. There just needs to be some consistency, and people need to be able to have discussions about being called a name that just takes away from the whole thing. That's my whole point here. Like, I'm having a discussion, just once you call me a racist or whatever, it just becomes a conversation about am I a racist, not what we're actually fighting about. And then send the conversation. Like y'all just going back and forth.
It hurts both sides. It hurts everybody.
It does.
Those terms around. And there's so many of them. You're just so tempted to just throw it around.
I mean, they have value. Don't get it twisted. Well, actually, no, they kind of don't have value. Like you were saying earlier, they don't have value because if you just keep using them over and over again.
Exactly.
Like what's an actual racist? If I call everyone racist
so much from that episode that now if I get called transphobic, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
That word has no power over me no more. That's what they did. That's what they did to me.
And that's the problem when you're using it so frequently.
Right. And if I was actually transphobic, it would be the exact same thing. Now the next time someone calls me transphobic, okay. Sure. I'm not changing. It didn't change my mind.
So one last question before we wrap this up is, like, if I call somebody a racist and they didn't believe they're racist, but they got called racist so much, do you think that they'll be like, I don't care anymore? It's like, fuck, I'll just be racist now. Like, everyone's calling me racist anyways. You think that will happen? Like you said, you could get pushed so.
If that was,
Go ahead.
If that was the extent of all those conditions, if I just kept getting called racist, but then no why, no how, no when, no none of that, it's just I'm racist, that's it. I'm just gonna think, all right, maybe I am. I don't know how, I don't know why. I'm not. I don't know if I believe it, to be honest with you.
That's valid.
But
man.
if I kept being called racist, and they said you're racist because you don't realize that by saying the coronavirus is the China virus, you're implying this, that, and the third. I'm like, oh, you know what? That actually makes sense. There's logic. You remove the emotion. You're not lashing out at me. And there's something for me to think on and reason with. If that happens enough, then I'm like, you know what? Maybe I do have racist tendencies.
But that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen around.
I can either accept that or embrace that.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen around any emotional topic, though. Because you're not going to come across 50 people that are level-headed. You come across maybe one or two that are level-headed, want to have a conversation with you. 48 out of those 50 people is like, nah, you're racist. Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's why we try to be level-headed. We try to be that one or two people that they come across, and it's like, maybe I'm transphobic because of this, maybe I'm racist because of this, maybe I'm too quick to cancel people because I haven't really thought of this yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not coming at those people. I'm just saying why you might be the way you are and how to improve on it.
Oh, man, we can go on about this forever, but let's just wrap this up right here. Question for what's the question you got for the people, man?
I don't know, man. Like, why do you think people are so quick to throw these terms around to the point where I'm sure it doesn't matter as much as it did.
Well, yeah. If someone called if someone called you racist right now, or transphobic, or xenophobic, or fatphobic, do those words hold any weight for you, or is it just another, like super woke thing, or like SJW thing you just dismiss? That's my question.
Maybe on a personal level, no. Maybe on a company level, it'll be different. If someone said Nike is homophobic, you feel like that PR manager would have to really focus on that word and figure out how like to counter it and stuff. Maybe it's more powerful.
No, not really. Because the only thing I say is it's just virtue signaling. Like Nike's like suing Lil Nas X and all that type of stuff. Like we don't. They use the logo or whatever, but it's like, yeah, you can do that, but I mean, you got child sweatshops, so like, don't try to take no more high ground. We don't associate with Satan, but let's put like these 5 on 2 cents. Like, no, that's not him for me, bro. It's just virtue. This whole thing is just virtue signaling, man. But anyways, wrap this up. Opinion Factory Podcast. Find us on Apple, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank y'all for listening. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends, family, neighbor, minority person you have in your life, whatever.
Yeah.
And we will
send that to the person that you think about canceling.
Yes. And we will see y'all
next week.